You have no idea how relieved I was to hear the music at the credits roll. Never before have I seen something so terrifying and amazing at the same time. Okay, if you didn't know already, this is a spoiler rant, so spoiler warning. There, formalities are over and it's time for spoilers. First of all, I may have mentioned already, but this was a totally unique experience that I had. I'm so glad I was able to see this film in the theaters because it was so much better just being isolated with the silver screen and just darkness. And also the entire theater was quiet, which good job for that, John Krasinski, because it takes a lot to get a theater to shut up. Everything from the cinematography to the idea to the performances, it was so cool to see. Alright, speaking of the performances, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the acting, but that's just a little bit. I was just wanted to throw out that Emily Blunt and John Krasinski are married in real life, so that made each of their scenes like even more better, I guess you could say, and you could see the realness in between them. Also, the deaf girl who played Reagan, I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she's actually deaf in real life, which, you know, it's kind of like a no-brainer. So her reactions are also really, really real. That's correct grammar. There's a scene where, if you guys have watched the film, the dad is like talking and he's like, this hearing aid will work, and she goes, it won't work, and then she starts signing the sign stop, and the camera like pans down, and so you only see, because he's kneeling down and she's standing up, and her hand is like, you know, her hand is saying the stop motion, and he's there, and all you can see is the sign, and also John Krasinski's reaction to it. And I think that was beautifully done because it really displays how big the divide is in between deaf and hearing people, because that's like speaking another language to somebody. Even though you're both speaking somewhat English, you won't actually be on the same level all the time. One thing I thought was kind of weird were the monsters. I was like, the anatomy of them were kind of weird, but they looked a lot like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, also from Cloverfield Paradox, that monster, and a lot of other things from like Alien and stuff, but it looked a lot like the Demogorgon. Like, they got some serious inspiration from Stranger Things. So I have chosen to rename the movie A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place. We could also know this as Stranger Things the movie, except replace L with a deaf girl named Reagan. That makes sense. Very long movie title. Anyways, as much as I didn't like the creature's anatomy, it was kind of like soothing to see them on screen in the camera instead of just them being like a rustle in the bushes or something. It was familiar to me to see, like, you know, have that, you know, sort of dramatic irony where the audience knows more than the characters do. So it kind of gave me a huge sense of relief, if that makes any sense. They never actually explained where the creatures came from. You know, there's just some things in a film where you can't explain it, and you just gotta take advantage of the fact that they just exist. It's like the Cloverfield Paradox, where they just don't explain where these things came from, and they don't really need to. You just gotta take it as it is. When I was watching this film, you can't do anything. Like, the slightest movement breaks the spell, and you really don't want to, like, be taken away from the world that they've created. You can't do anything but not breathe. I like that although they were signing, which is a silent language, they were still mouthing the words and sound was coming out of their mouths. Because that's just natural, and I think that was a great, like, thing. Nice little thing. I focus on the little things a lot, you guys. Since this is called A Quiet Place and you can't say anything in this film, the first and last major sound that you hear brings death. One in a good way and one in a bad way. The first one is the bad way, where it kills that poor child. And then the last one is the, you know, Emily Blunt cocking a shotgun. I think it was really funny that the scariest part of the entire film was the nail on the stairs. Granted, it was freaky. Like, if I watched it again, I'd still be as freaked out as I was the first time I saw it. But, like, the scariest part was the nail of all that built-up anticipation, and you're just like... When the husband and wife started to do that whole side clip of dancing to the music with the earbuds in their ears, it was like, I mean, I understand, like, the real-life situation of this, and it was trying to, like, give us a picture of what it was like to be married, and you know, that scene was adorable. And it was also kind of a relief to hear the music playing, because I was like, that was the first moment in the film where I was like, okay, I can relax, like, this is fine, because you know film tropes, and you're like, okay, when there's happy music, nothing should ruin this moment, because nothing in that scene was, like, alluding to anything else. Thank you for that moment of relaxation. So the ending, I'm not sure what I think about it. It was very female empowering, but that's just kind of the trend of what's going on in films right now. I'm still not sure what I think about it. I don't like it as much, but I mean, it was a solid way to end the film. And also it was 2 hours and 10 minutes long, so I feel like that's enough for one sitting. When I watched this film, I finally realized why people go on roller coasters for fun, because of all of the suspense and like the thrillingness of it. Still won't go on roller coasters, but I understand now. All in all, this was a film that was unfamiliar, and that was made it so terrifying. Everyone in the audience was completely silent. It was unfamiliar, and I think John Krasinski and the writers of this did that beautifully. Question of the week is, do you know any deaf people in the deaf community, or are you a part of the deaf community yourself? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to talk to you. Again, I do read all your comments. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great random Thursday. See you on the other side of the screen. Bye!